And now for an hour of me playing the vuvuzela. What?
You gonna do a vuvuzela? Well, it was worth a shot. Hello and welcome to the Galway Pridecast, episodes 3 and Knuckles. I'm Mark Laherty, pronouns he, him.
I'm Cathy Brennan, pronouns they, them.
Hi, I'm Robyn. My pronouns are they, them, and she, her.
Awesome. Cathy, how are you?
Pass.
You're funny.
I mean, alright then. I'm okay personally. Bit tired, but when am I not?
I am pretty great. I've spent the last few days with the wonderful love of my life, who, by the way, is Cathy. I've been working on some personal projects that I've been wanting to get around to. Robyn looks exasperated.
It's fucking gay!
That's the theme. It's the Pridecast.
Ugh. Anyway.
So, TERFs.
Oh, God.
So, TERFs. We're just going to talk about TERFs. Here we are, talking about TERFs once again, complaining about them.
We're just going directly into fucking TERFs then, are we?
Never fuck TERFs. By the
Yes.
way, our Cathy Brennan is not the same as the other Cathy Brennan.
Who
Obviously.
is a TERF.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a nice Cathy Brennan.
Yes. The excellent Cathy Brennan.
The
Actual
benevolent
factual.
one.
The benevolent one. So, London Pride. Some nonsense happened, which we are not okay with. Specifically, the London Pride parade was apparently hijacked by a TERF group. Which, for those who don't know, TERFs are like explicitly anti-trans rights and anti-transgender people, and like describe themselves as radical feminists, but there's nothing terribly radical about their feminism. And they jumped in as the head of the London Pride Parade and used their slogans to directly oppose trans rights and trans people. So that's not cool.
It was under the guise of lesbian erasure that they think that trans people do two things, and they had Robyn's shaking his head. I don't know her head. I don't know why I was like Marion. Who's Marion?
I don't know who Marion is.
Maid Marion? Anyway, sorry. So lesbian erasure is one of the placards that they were holding up, and another one was trans women are sexual predators.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
They're not.
So can I just
Take
all the TERFs, just run them up in a nice black sack and drop kick them into another dimension? Please.
Yeah, go for it. This is quickly turning week by week into the Galway anti-TERF podcast. And I'm okay with that. That wasn't what I planned, but here we are. Well,
people keep mentioning TERFs and I keep having something to say about TERFs because TERFs are bad.
TERFs are terrible. TERFable.
In short, the way I look at it personally is if your feminism is not intersectional, then it's not feminism, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Not true feminism.
So, speaking of intersectional feminism and people who are good at caring about trans people, I'd like to talk a little bit about the This Is Me trans healthcare protest that happened last Friday? Saturday? Saturday. Thank you. A person who is good at remembering time and what order it happened in.
Time isn't real.
Be that as it may, the trans healthcare protest happened, and it was super good. I went along for what I could. Something came up, and I couldn't stick around for all of it, but I got to see the speakers, and all of the speakers were really good. Essentially, the main concern, as I understand it, with the trans healthcare protests is that the waiting lists for transition-related operations and things like that are far too long. 2-year waiting lists are a common thing. And it's a position where people are often forced to go private or travel abroad in a sort of theme that may feel familiar. It feels familiar for me because that was a big talking point during the referendum to repeal the 8th, that people were essentially forced to travel abroad for healthcare. And I feel like this is a similar kind of thing.
I would say so, yeah.
I'd like to bring it back to TERFs. Yay.
Okay, do you have a thing that you want to say about TERFs?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
The thing I was going to say is that they call themselves gender critical feminists and refer to TERF as a slur.
Mm-hmm.
However, their gender critical views tend to negate the existence of gender and only focus on them as stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I think they run much deeper for a lot of trans people, and a lot of the actual conflict there comes from the fact that TERFs are unwilling to recognise the world as it is, and the fact that people need to be able to live comfortably in their body, be accepted by society now. Like, in an idealistic world, I am sort of a gender abolitionist. I'm like, we don't need it, causes a lot of oppression, causes a lot of not only oppression but also internal strife.
Yes.
So I think long term, if we were all just had sexes and no genders, and there wasn't a sort of a, well, she's female, therefore she can't do X, and he's male, therefore he should get away with Y. I love my examples. Can you tell I was assigned female at birth? Anyway, it's kind of interesting to me that they managed to take a view which has elements of being fairly progressive and yet morph it into something so ugly and backwards by not acknowledging the actual situation that they are living in.
I've seen it described by trans people on Twitter as like a kindergarten level understanding of queer theory, that like there's a germ of an idea there that they have taken in the wrong direction. I think for some of them at least that's like deliberate, that they dress it up as a progressive idea so that it can gain some traction.
I can kind of see where to come. No, actually, no, I don't see where to come from. Not, I phrased that completely wrong. What I mean is like, well, it was kind of coming back to something that Cathy said about like, that it causes a lot of problems in like society and stuff like that. I personally think that it doesn't really cause it a problem on an individual level. Like, someone individually being like, oh, I'm genderqueer, I use they them pronouns. That doesn't really, in my opinion, cause too much of an issue on the grand scale of things. Like, they're literally just asking, it's like, hi, this is my name, this is how I like to be referred to, please respect that.
Are we cool to move on, or do... No? Okay, we're gonna go.
Gender stereotypes. Do either of you think that trans people perpetuate and reinforce gender stereotypes?
No. That's my short answer. No. No more than, say, a cisgendered person would. Because you get cisgender women, for example, who can be hyperfeminine, for example, and like kind of are stereotypically, like air quotes around stereotypically, feminine, or actually, should air quotes be around feminine or stereotypically, actually?
Either or, carry on.
I think in that, there's basically people who are cisgender and transgender people in general would contribute to that, in my opinion, the same way and to the same extent as like each other, really, in my opinion. Because you'll get kind of like trans women, for example, who can be very butch or very masculine, or stereotypically masculine, and then you can get also like trans men who also like to be feminine and stuff like that. You get cisgender men who like to be feminine, like cisgender women who like to be butch or like masculine, however you want to put it. So yeah, like
I'd be inclined to agree with you. Just to clarify, it was more just a common thing that I'd heard that I kind of wanted to discuss, I suppose.
What is this? Some kind of echo chamber?
Yes, definitely. Cathy, do you have any other ways that you'd like to go off at TERFs?
No.
I have been thinking about the reinforcing gender stereotypes thing, and one thing that I realized that kind of rang true for me is that if you're going to go after someone for reinforcing gender stereotypes, then surely the problem end of the spectrum would be cis people, and those are the people that you should be going after first if you're concerned about this, as opposed to trans people, where if you don't think that someone deserves to be beaten up or fired from their job for wearing pants or a dress or whatever, then you want 95% of the things that trans activists want, is what I would be inclined to think.
Well, yeah, I mean, that sounds kind of very much... That's kind of that sounds... Yeah, basically, it sounds logically... Yeah, that's logical. Like,
Yes, basically.
Yes.
What is this podcast sponsored by? Because we just talked about TERFs all day, and it's not sponsored by TERFs.
Sponsored by the little gerbil in the mixer, or that soundboard. That's it.
Soundboard.
That's what word we came up. That's the word we used last time, wasn't it?
I think we went with dashboard, but I dare say
Dashboard.
that there's an actual word for it that isn't based on like our whims.
Yeah, I know there is. I just can't think of it. But anyways,
Cathy, what did we learn today?
Oh, that it's over already, apparently.
Well, yeah, we gotta go. There's a meeting.
Shit. Okay,
What did we learn today, Cathy?
I told you that it's over already.
Oh, I'm sorry. Robyn.
Yes.
What did we learn today?
I learned that Bus Éireann is still terrible, and that Bus Éireann is always going to be terrible. That's what I learned.
Oh, great. I thought that's what you learned last week.
Was
maybe.
it?
Yeah.
I think I just keep learning more and more each day,
Yeah.
each minute that I spend on a Bus Éireann bus. That's just terrible.
It's you just sort of sink into the knowledge.
Yeah.
I learned many interesting and enlightening things about gender and stuff, which I often do when I spend time with my beautiful trans friends. And I'm not sucking up, I promise. I think we'll draw the line there.
Oh, okay.
Boo.
Boo. Because
Boo.
we gotta get going.
Boo.
Boo! Okay, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Our theme music is by Vibe Mountain. I've been Mark Laherty.
I've been Robyn Smith.
I'm Cathy. I'm still Cathy.
I'll give you that. No surname, apparently.
No.
No surname. You can follow us on social media, Twitter, Galway Pride, and Facebook. That's all. See you around. Thanks very much.
And now for an hour of me playing the same chord on the guitar for an hour. It's like constantly playing E. But then I changed up a little bit. And I go to A. And you know what? I'm feeling a bit adventurous. I changed it to D then.
D.
Nailed it.